Welcome to another edition of Coffee with the Candidates. This is Nancy and Andy from Yankton Thrive, and I'm here today with Dave Sarda. I want to remind everyone, Election Day is April 9th. You can vote at City Hall Gym or the North Fire Station from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Or if you choose absentee voting, that starts Monday, March 25th, and you can pick up a ballot at City Hall Gym down at 416 Walnut. Well, thank you for joining us today, Dave.
Thank you for having me.
Well, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewing audience?
Sure, and thank you. Dave Sarda, and I am running for a seat on the City Commission. A little history on me. I'm from Yankton, grew up in Yankton. My folks still live in Yankton. Graduated from Yankton High School and went to School of Mines, got a degree in mechanical engineering. After graduating, me and my wife, Sarah, currently serves on the school board, we moved to Texas for about 10 years. And look for the opportunity to come back to South Dakota and put our work into finding jobs here and get back to family and everything. And we're fortunate to move back to family and friends. So we're happy about that. Got 3 grown children. 2 are in college and 1 works in town here. Very happy. My kids are still in town and get to spend time with them. And I have a granddaughter, Sonny. So very, very fortunate to have family around us. And I worked for a manufacturer in Yankton for a number of years. Left them a couple years ago, worked for a company out of Utah for about a year, and I currently work for Masaba in Vermilion as our Director of Product Engineering.
So with all the candidates running this year being current or former commissioners, what sets you apart from them?
Sure. On a commission with 9 people, I think it's good to have a variety of people, whether they be business owners, lawyers, bankers, you name it. Come from different fields. As an engineer, I think I bring a different view on a lot of projects and my management style and my leadership. I think it just gives a good perspective that the other commissioners may not have. And then I bring it to my experience of being on the commission also. Brings a lot of experience there. But being on a commission, you have to work together as a group, whether you all agree or not. But in the end, we all row the same direction. And we do that in family and life, and I especially do that in work every day. We are working as a group, making decisions for the future, how we're going to move ahead. And that's what I've done my whole career, and enjoy doing that.
So in your opinion, what is the role of a city commissioner?
Sure, absolutely. Working with all the other commissioners is probably one of the top items. And there's no order at all, but we set direction as a group. We vote on things and we give clear direction to move forward. We're involved with strategic planning of the city. Can't remember how often that's done with the city. I believe in the past it was every couple of years, and someone was usually brought in, and great ideas are brought forward by the commissioners, people in the community, and the city staff. The commission has 3 people who report to them: city manager, finance officer, and city attorney. So we got to make sure that the direction is clear that we're giving as a group, and all that filters down. City manager takes that, finance officer takes that, and they filter it down into the departments, and that's the direction we're going, and they make it all happen. Now we have to listen to the public, make sure the public's involved in everything that's going on. They're informed and take input, and always put ourselves in their shoes. What are they thinking? What are they concerned about? And can we help them or can't we help them? And make changes if we need to or can. Keep Yankton moving forward as a group. And big thing is work through the budget. Budget is a big item every year. It affects so many things in our community. And as a commission, we see what the city presents, and then we also work on projects that are years out in the future.
So speaking of budget, can you share with our viewing audience your perspective on the current city budget and what you might propose to do differently?
Sure. A wise man once said you can only slice a pie in so many different pieces. So as a commission, we look at that pie and how can we divide it up? And it's going to be a challenge with some changes that may or may not be coming towards us, but that is a challenge every year that the commission and city staff go through. A lot of the budget's pretty straightforward, right? You got to make sure we're safety, infrastructure, we have the personnel benefits, we're attracting good people to work for the city, all that's pretty straightforward. But I think having a good plan for the future. Where are we going to go? What do we need to get done? And can we do it with the funds we have available? And if we can't do it with the funds we have available, how can we resolve that with the community?
So in 2024, we are celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Meridian Bridge. What process would you propose or support regarding long-term plans for the bridge? Would that include repair, removal of the bridge, and then how do we pay for all of that?
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge, and the city's always known that would be at some point. It's a pedestrian bridge, right? It's not a traffic bridge. I don't know what the inspections on pedestrian bridges are, but I think we follow those, and anything minor repairs, hopefully we can make. But we look at it as just being people are walking across it. It's not meant for traffic. And however, whatever, obviously we're going to keep people safe, do everything that needs to be done. But I think we need to first learn what needs to be done as far as inspection and if there's anything that is glaring. But I think that it's going to be a challenge. I'd hate to be making that decision on how do we bring it down. And I hope that never comes in front of us. But the city does not budget for any repairs or anything like that. So minor repairs, I think, can be tackled.
So we have seen multiple economic development successes in 2023 with $100 million in building permits. What do you think about the current processes for economic development, and what would you propose continuing or changing?
Yeah. First, we could always improve the process, right? We always have to strive to get better and make changes that the commission or city may not have thought of. So there are always opportunities for that. The challenge with economic development, the Yankton has done a great job in the last for a long time on enticing companies to come here and everything, and that'll continue to go as it is now. But everyone who's involved in economic development, we just got to keep the foot on the pedal and move it as fast as we can. Every community is, trying to get the same companies. That's the big challenge. Not just Yankton, but every community in the United States is trying to get the same companies that we are. So it is a challenge, but as a community, right, we need to keep finding ways to grow our community, bring people in, and economic development is a big part of that, as we all are. But we want to bring people in, and even bringing companies in, a big challenge we have is the workforce, right? So we've got a lot of great companies in Yankton, and a lot of them are hurting and wanting more employees. So that is a big challenge, that economic development, we want to grow and everything, but as a community, we need to work on how do we get more people in our community, and all that. How do we attract, how do we retain people in our community too? The young people that looking to move other places, what can we do to keep them here? And along with economic development, so we need the jobs, we need the housing, all of that ties into what can we do to help Yankton out.
So let's talk about something really fun. What are your 3 favorite things about Yankton?
Absolutely. Well, so 3 things is pretty tough, but I think one thing that covers a majority of things is quality of life. Yankton, we have a great quality of life, and that covers so many things in my mind. So you think about, what do I like to do? What's outside? What's things that can keep me busy inside and outside of the house? And Yankton has a ton of things like that. Family and friends. Got some great friends in the community. My family's in the community, and they're all here, so it's a really great environment. The travel, outdoors, parks, you name it, trails. Again, that's quality of life items, and got a great school system, and love it.
So for those people who don't know you, you are an avid biker in this community. So do you want to talk a little bit more about our trail system and how great that is compared to maybe some other areas?
Absolutely. So, we have a great trail system that goes through the Old Brokaw Trail. There was some damage to it a handful of years back when the huge flood that Yankton encountered. and it's all back up. I believe I think it was on all of it a couple of weeks ago, and when the weather was good, and it's great. I mean, it goes from one end of the town to the other. It ties into the trails going out to the lake, and even our streets. We don't have a ton of traffic, and it's easy to get around, easy to go ride to the store. So I love it. It's very bike friendly and walking too.
So on the November ballot, there may be a measure to eliminate the tax on food, and this could potentially create a large loss in local revenue. How do you see that impacting the budget, and what would you propose doing differently to continue to create a balanced budget?
Yeah, so if it does get on the ballot, I hope it doesn't pass because it will affect us as a community. I think hopefully everyone keeps that in mind and knows that it's going to take money away. And like I mentioned earlier, you can only slice that pie up certain different ways. So if we do lose that funding, something might have to suffer for that. And again, I hope that doesn't happen. But there might be some projects that are out there in the future that may need to move further out in the future, or groups coming together to solve that funding issue. City is a big player in that, but the city does not have to solve all those issues on its own. We have great leaders in the community that can help that, but I don't have what that answer is for it. But as a group, the commission has to work together once the budget does come forward. There's a give and take, but as always, there's certain things we have to take care of: safety, our infrastructure, employees and benefits, and other things. But we have to do all of that first, and then everything else after that, we'll see what's left.
You're right. It's a big give and take process amongst commissioners as well as the department heads. You and I have both sat through enough city staff meetings as they're debating with each other how to prioritize, whether it be equipment purchases or maintenance that we have to take care of. There's just a lot of things to balance in that process.
Yeah, it is a great process to watch too. The budget, I don't know when it starts, but it seems like it takes 6 months to get approved through the commission. But it's exactly what you said, Nancy. It starts, everyone has a lot of wishes, gets whittled down again, and then you see what's left. Like I said, there are certain things you do have to fund, and you have to stay on top of things too, whether it be vehicles. There's replace something every 10 years. If you don't stay on top of that and keep up on the maintenance stuff, you do pay for it later. And the city staff, from what I've seen and have enjoyed watching over the years, they've got good things in place to always be on top of that and make sure that our community is thriving.
So let's talk about community involvement. Commissioners and staff work hard to share necessary project details in a variety of ways. It can be in the paper, newspaper briefings, at meetings. And we have seen over the past year some citizens feeling they have not had enough access to information, or they didn't get the information early enough in the process. So thinking about challenges such as Westside Park Pond and the removal of the tree, do you think that anything needs to change?
Sure, like I mentioned earlier, we could always get better, and you always look for ways to improve what's in place. I think the city does a great job in publishing, having information out there with all this media available, social media, videoing, compared to 10 years ago. All the meetings are televised now, they're recorded, the agenda's published enough in advance. The minutes are published, I believe, in the paper and probably online also. You can go to the city website. There's a lot of information there. It can always be better. There's probably something that could be done to get more information out there. And, if people have ideas like that, I think it's great that they bring them forward, because we want everybody to be educated and know what's going on. So whatever we can do to make sure everyone does. But the other side of that too, as a citizen, I'm responsible to know what's going on in the city. So if I want to know what's going on, I know where to look: city website, maybe the paper, listen to the radio. Everything's out there. You just have to. Sometimes you have to go looking for it, and whether that's fair or not. But like I said, it's all there. The city staff, city commissioners, we all live here. We're not trying to. I know that the commission and the staff are not trying to sneak something in, because they live in this community too. So they want the best for Yankton.
So the city is embarking on updating the comprehensive plan. Is there anything specific that you would like to see included in the comprehensive plan?
Sure. So actually looked through the comprehensive plan not too long ago just to see what was all involved with it. I think community involvement obviously is really a big key, making sure everybody that wants input, bring the right people together, that probably have some history on Yankton but or live somewhere else that can help lead that direction a little bit. You know, one thing, economic development, what tools do we need in place years down the road? Again, getting back to attract businesses, attract people, keep our kids living here, more tax dollars, housing, all that great stuff needs to be rolled in there with that comprehensive plan. But looking at the surrounding land around the city, you know, what can we bring in to help Yankton grow? Always looking at the zoning, always going through those, because that's what do you know, no one knows what's going to happen in 10 years, but there are some people who can predict a lot of that, bringing in the right experts to lead some of those discussions. But really looking, where do we need to grow, even inside the city? You know, what buildings might be changing over the course of time, what land isn't developed yet, what land is available for sale. You really need to look at all of that in order to move us all forward. And I guess what I would like to see is, what are we going to do to make all that happen? And I think getting the right people in the right room will definitely help that.
I think as the city takes a look at the comprehensive plan, they do a good job of pulling different groups together to have those targeted conversations. And I do suspect that the county will be involved, you know, because as Yankton continues to grow and we look at the lake area, and the number of campgrounds, the number of homes that are being built out there, how we're going to continue to merge what's happening in the county. And if they're looking for infrastructure, sewer services from the city, you know, how can we blend that together?
Yeah, and you know, I think that's great because I know the water treatment plant that was put in was built for growth, which is great. So that, you know, very good planning for the future there. The wastewater treatment plant built for growth. So all of that is thought through to make sure that we can start growing inside the city and outside the city limits. But I look every direction, west, east, north, where we can grow. There's land available, but definitely you got the county, you got the school system, obviously the city, businesses in town, everybody kind of working together to see what that future is, because businesses know where they're going to grow too, and you know, getting all that involvement.
So is there anything that you would like to include in this interview that was not a part of a previously asked question?
You know, just a couple things. I just appreciate what we all have in Yankton and what everybody does to make Yankton a great community. I think we all see that, even if we're new to town or we've been here a long time. We see what Yankton has to offer. You know, it's just a great place to live, good quality of life. I enjoyed being on the commission before. I was on it for a handful of years, served mayor twice as mayor, and just enjoyed learning what I could about the city and being involved in some of those decisions. But just being a part of that team that helped, looked at the information that was gathered, listening to people in the community, listening to the city staff, and making those good decisions. I really enjoyed that, and I missed it since I've been on the commission for about 3 years. And to all the public, I just appreciate your support in the upcoming election, and I'd like to get your vote and vote Sarda on the ballot. And thank you, Nancy, for putting this together.
Well, it is our pleasure at Yankton Thrive to continue to educate the citizens of Yankton on their options when it comes to the election on April 9th. Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Nancy.